can answer the question, Judge. You can't handle the truth.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
Rubs the lotion on its skin or else gets the hose again.
Welcome to After Hours AM, The Criminal Code, with your hosts, Joel Sturgis, Eric Olsen, and Dr. Clarissa Cole.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this edition of After Hours AM, The Criminal Code. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis. Right along with me,
Eric Olsen and
Dr. Clarissa Cole.
So how is everybody doing this fine hump day, Eve?
Good. I'm doing well. How are you?
A quick programming note, as long as you asked, we will not be having any shows next week, not because of anything that's horribly wrong, other than I'm having heart surgery. So, and it's really not even heart surgery. It's
nothing but a little heart surgery.
That's it, amongst friends. So it won't be so bad. It'll be okay. They're going to be placing a stent. Allegedly placing a stent. We will see if they don't go the open heart route, and I sure hope they don't. Gosh, I sure hope they don't. But they will be placing a stent. I have a 70 to 90% block in my right lower side of the heart, so that is what's going on. So if you guys are feeling tired and stuff like that, so absolutely talk to your doctor, because it was kind of weird how they found mine. They found mine through a routine stress test, which I was feeling fine. It was basically just to rule things out, 44 years old, just to check under the hood. And that is how they found it. So luckily they found it that way, and I will be feeling much better in short order. So it was caught before it could do anything.
Well, we certainly hope that is all absolutely true, and we hope it goes as smoothly and painlessly as possible, and that your recovery is relaxing and sweet.
Me too. I'm going to enjoy the week off in a lot of ways, because, I'm going to watch a lot of small town monsters documentaries. I want to catch up on those.
Yeah, Seth was a great guest last week. He's a smart guy, and man, is he busy. He's cranking out, 3 films a year?
Yeah, he is, and we had him on last week, so it's up for on demand right now. If you want to download that, we had Seth Breedlove on, and he is the filmmaker with Small Town Monsters, and they kind of run the gamut, Bigfoot to Loch Ness Monster to you name it. Anything weird and odd, they cover it. And in fact, I watched one really good one on the Prime. Most of this is available on Amazon Prime. I watched the Bray Road Beast, that documentary, and that was really fascinating how that all unfolded. A lot of stuff I did not know. So again, the Small Town Monsters, our good bud Seth Breedlove's putting that stuff out there. So I thought I'd give them a quick plug.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to go. I've never met him in person, even though he lives 15 miles from me.
He does. He's like your neighbor. He said he'd throw things at you and hit you.
Practically my neighbor. But when they have he's having a big premiere of the latest film, which was the Bigfoot one, right?
Yeah.
The tour
on the trail of Bigfoot.
On the trail of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And that'll be down in Canton. There's a really beautiful old theater down in Canton, and he's having one of the premieres there. So as long as it fits my schedule, I am absolutely planning to go down there, check it out on the big screen, meet Seth in person. Should be cool. That's coming up.
That will be a lot of fun.
March.
Yeah, that'll be a heck of a lot of fun. Dr. Cole, how are you doing this fine cold, on my end anyway, but probably not in California, cold Wednesday evening?
It actually is kind of cold here, and it's been raining for days and days and days, which we need the rain. It's wiping out the drought in California, which is great, but it's fairly chilly out there. I mean, obviously not what you guys are used to, but cold for us. So yeah, I mean, I like it though. I like winter. I miss winter. So I do. I miss it a lot. I like all the sun makes me depressed. I like reverse SAD.
Oh no!
So what you're saying is you're going to be moving back to Wisconsin? Is that what I get out of that statement?
Actually, I do want to move back to the Midwest at some point. Yeah.
Oh,
I do.
Man.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I want to move back to Wisconsin, but I definitely I have been tired of California for a while, but it's the job that keeps me here.
Maybe Minneapolis, St. Paul is calling your name.
Hey, I loved it there. I was there for a very short time in Egan for a summer, and I loved it there. Yeah, so I had a great time there.
Yeah, well, that's so very, very cool. So I know we got Eric. How are you doing? Before we move on, are you doing all right? I know you lost your mom recently, and we all want to check in with you on that. And
yeah, in some ways, it's hard to believe. It was 2 weeks ago tonight, and it just doesn't. I mean, it sure seems longer than 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
It really does.
It's weird. I'm in this weird place. I'm adapting, adjusting, staying really busy, and we're working on. I have to handle all the estate stuff and the planning for the service because I think I mentioned last week we delayed it to give everyone a chance to find out about it so we can plan it in a leisurely manner. So that's coming up. That's still a month away. So I think that was a good idea. And, so working all that, I'm mostly all right. It seems like about every third day now, which is a lot better than every 3 hours, do I have a, emotional wave overcome me. It's still very unexpected and just like, boom, appears out of nowhere, and it's still pretty overwhelming. It's why I'm still sniffly, because my body's just not used to it. I don't know. It's just not used to it. Anyway, I'm doing all right, and I actually went to a really interesting class just before the show here tonight.
Lamaze.
No, not Lamaze.
Okay.
I'm hopefully beyond that at this stage of my life, unless I am tending to one of my own children in that position, but hopefully it wouldn't come to that. No, I went to I guess technically it's yoga, but it's really just a very, very slow, long, drawn out, gentle stretching class. And oh my God, it felt good. It was so nice.
Everybody likes to stretch.
Loosened up my lower back, my hips. I mean, just my shoulder that gets sore. I really feel good coming out of that. So I thank my wife, Dawn, for forcing it upon me. So go, Dawn.
Very, very cool. What a lady, making sure that you're taking good care of yourself or helping you take good care of yourself. But I suppose we should switch gears and give everyone what they want, and that's their dose of the true crime. And tonight we're profiling a strange case from the UK, aren't we, Doctor?
Yes, we are. And I like getting some cases from overseas because people just aren't as familiar. I mean, those of you that are like serial killer junkies, I'm sure will know of the case of John Christie. But for those of you that don't, we are going to cover it.
Very cool. So stay tuned to that one. And I kind of look at it as a serial killer with a strange love. Much, much stranger than you would think. Top of the next hour, we're going to be talking all about John Christie, one of the UK's most strange and odd, I guess the same word, but man, I can't stress it enough, serial killers. So anyhow, let's get back to what we came here for. And all these headlines each and every week are brought to you by thecriminalcode.com. Now, you've heard me talk about thecriminalcode.com for well over a year now. What has it been, about a year and a half we've been doing the true crime
I think
stuff?
so,
It's been quite some time. Now, if you haven't been there, you really owe it to yourself. If you're listening to the show, obviously you have an interest in true crime. You need to stop on over to thecriminalcode.com. Check that all out. That's the area where you can hear about all the serial killers. Really, anything you want to think about true crime, it is there. Dr. Cole does a wonderful job writing fresh new articles every Tuesday for her feature called Terror Tuesday. So you want to check that out. And not only can you read all that cool and awesome stuff, but you also can get the doctor's notes. Where else can you get doctor's notes? So it's very, very cool. Again, thecriminalcode.com.
Thank you, Joel. And I mean, sometimes if you guys want to write in and hear about the headlines, please do. Like, send me an email, shoot me a note about any weird stories that you might come across during the week, because I certainly don't see all of them. As far as the headlines. But I did come across one. Now, have you guys eaten dinner for the evening already?
Yes, I have. I've eaten, so I'm not currently eating anything, so I'm good to go.
That's a good thing.
Mere moments before the show started, I shoveled it all down. Not that it wasn't good. It was good.
Well.
Okay, good. Because there's a Tennessee man who apparently works for it's called Dinner Delivered. I've never heard of that before.
I have not ever heard of that either. It must be
like
kind of like a Grubhub kind of thing where they'll ship food to you or what have you.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it sounds like it. That's exactly right. Probably it's like a Grubhub sort of thing. And he was delivering some Mexican food from a restaurant to somebody in a town called Maryville.
Was he wearing a sombrero? Oh, sorry.
He was not. No, he wasn't. It was it actually looks like he's wearing a Confederate flag t-shirt, which is inappropriate on a whole other level.
That would be, that's quite the enigma right there. Wearing a Confederate flag shirt and delivering Mexican food.
Mexican food. It is. It's odd. So that's what he was wearing. And apparently he knows, I guess, maybe what the tip is going to be. I think the people enter it, before you get there.
Sure. So let me guess. Maybe the gratuity was not to his liking?
It was not to his liking. Well, I mean, to be fair, it was 89 cents.
89-cent tip. Yeah, that's a little on the low side now, isn't it?
Well, which is a very, very sad tip, right?
That is pretty bad. That
it's
is
very
insulting.
Specific.
Yeah.
89 cents. What meaning might that have, Sherlock?
I'm guessing they just rounded up. They were like, sure, let's throw that extra buck.
Yeah, we'll give this strange guy 89 cents just so he goes away faster.
Right.
So was $99.11. So they just rounded it up.
Yeah, we'll give you $100 and you'll be on your way. And he drove 30 minutes, I guess, to get there. So he decided to make a little stop before delivering the food, the Mexican food, remember. And he decided that he was going to add a secret ingredient to their salsa.
And what was this secret ingredient, Dr. Cole?
I'm actually thinking that maybe he was just trying it for hotness, with his testicles.
Well, okay, that what?
Can I say that on the
Yeah,
air?
you can.
Yeah.
You can even say balls if you really want to.
Body part, you could say nutsack
if you wanted to, or coin purse. Yeah. You can say whatever you want. So he dipped his nether regions into the Mexican food. Now, would that also be two no-nos at once? One would be, of course, dipping your nether regions into someone else's food. But two, wouldn't it be double dipping?
Oh, God, it was so bad. It was so well, and the thing is, it's one of those Scooby-Doo episodes where if it wasn't for your pesky kids, would have gotten away with it.
Yeah.
So apparently he had someone video this.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
That's why he got caught.
He had wait a minute. He had somebody videotape him putting his junk in someone's food.
Yes.
Did he send the video to the people that were eating the food?
No, he uploaded it to Facebook. I've seen it.
Excuse me. Gosh, cough there. Oh, what? So the guy not only is dumb enough to stick his winky dinky into someone else's food, but then stupid enough to upload it to Facebook and think it's the funniest thing this century. All over 89-cent tip.
Yes.
So, because the legal costs are going to be a whole lot more than 89 cents if he gets prosecuted.
Oh, and he will, because everyone in the world knows about it now. And just in case any of you were wondering, his name is Howard Webb, age 31, out of Tennessee.
Do not take any food from Howard Webb, number one.
Anything.
Do not, especially cheese. Now, if he showed up a cheesecake, Dr. Cole, you'd have to think twice, though. We've heard Your
know,
love
right?
of cheesecake. But if
no.
if there's nut tracks in there, do not eat them. Just don't do it.
So I guess the dinner delivered app or whatnot, they're dealing with it, they've said, but that was his crime.
We're dealing with it internally.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Or in this case, externally.
Yes.
And
Wow.
there was another case. So I was thinking like, okay, that is just sort of the supreme in kind of stupidity there to video it and upload it.
That is really dumb.
But I have another. I feel like this is a dumb crime, but I kind of want to run it past you guys because I'm starting to like second guess myself. So
okay.
This one is out of Louisiana.
Okay.
It's out of a New Orleans suburb, and it a postal manager, so working for the U.S. postal system, apparently stole $630,000 worth of stamps.
What?
That is a boatload of stamps.
That's a boatload of stamps, and what's he gonna do? Sell it on the street? Hey, I got your stamps right here. Hey, I got the stuff. What?
No,
that makes no sense.
He sold them on eBay.
He sold stamps on eBay?
Uh-huh.
For what? He cut rate them down to 25 cents a piece? What did he do to move these things?
I know, it's a good question, right? Like, I don't know if he actually discounted them or if he was just selling them on eBay. I have no idea, but it's actually PayPal and eBay notified the postal system because they didn't know. How do you not know
how do you
that
misplace?
over $500,000 in stamps
that's a
is
lot of
gone?
stamps. You know, that's a lot of small pieces of paper.
That's a
lot of stamps. I mean, the guy must have had a truckload of stamps.
Well, we know what it is. It's over 1 million stamps.
Yeah, it is.
It's like 1.2 million stamps.
My God, that's a lot of stamps. I mean, I don't even like to send letters to begin with, but why would I need, 1.2 million? Did he not get the memo that email is cheaper?
And it's okay. So this is what the article says, because I have to quote it. Internal controls had failed to detect the stamp thefts because he used another supervisor's password to access the computer system.
Yeah, that old yard.
Why? But like, why does that explain it? I'm sorry. He still stole over $1 million worth of stamps. How does using another supervisor's password not?
That is odd. I just.
That makes no sense.
They have some inventory control issues.
Oh, huge. Maybe he's the guy that does the inventory.
I don't know, but like I was having fantasies of ripping off the post office earlier. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is how well they keep records.
That is
honestly
awfully strange that you'd steal, like almost a little over $500,000 worth of stamps. And to move that volume of stamps, it's not what you can do is sell them one at a time. You'd have to find somebody that's willing to, say to themselves, "Boy, I sure send a lot of letters. Yeah, go ahead. I'll give you $300,000 for those stamps."
Oh, well, this will wet your whistle then. He said that he sold most of the stamps to 2 buyers in Montana and New Jersey.
2 buyers in Montana and New Jersey? Wow, they got a stamp shortage over there? Come on.
Like $200,000 worth of stamps, sure.
It has to be a business that mails things.
It has to be somebody that's in the crooked stamp,
And number 2, he had to have discounted them. And, of course, you can't discount stamps. So knowing, I would be suspicious of these buyers, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would definitely
I'm thinking the
be.
same.
They're like fences, let's face it.
Like
it's like
who's buying them off eBay? You can go right to stamps.com and get them from the post office. Why would you buy them off eBay?
I have no idea. That makes no sense at all. There's got to be more to this story.
Well, apparently, Mr. Cortez, he's the person that was doing this, he withdrew thousands of dollars regularly at the Harrah's Casino in New Orleans.
Oh. Okay.
And Harrah's records revealed that Cortez lost more than $667,000 since 2011.
Damn. When did he steal these stamps? Is this a recent development?
He started in 2011, stealing the stamps that we know of, and he lost over $220,000 in 2017 alone. And postal records show that his annual salary is $70,000.
So he's trying to pay off gambling debts one stamp at a time. What's he gonna do? Mail his bookies bad news?
I mean, he just kept losing, like, at some point.
Well, he's just a horrible gambler. He obviously never listened to the Johnny Cash song. He did not know when to hold him. He did not know when to fold him. And he really should have ran.
Is that Johnny Cash? Is that a Johnny Cash song?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers.
My bad. Kenny Rogers.
Yeah,
sorry about that. That's Kenny
Rogers.
Rogers. Although it should have been Johnny Cash. Gosh darn it. It would have been better.
I agree.
Well, Johnny Cash may have done it because he did every other song.
Well, he did do every other song.
He needed to know what condition his condition was in. That was the first Kenny Rogers. Did you realize that he was a rocker in the 60s?
Yeah, wasn't he with the Fifth Dimension or something like that?
The first edition.
First edition, that's what it was.
And his brother, interestingly enough, just because I know stuff like this, his brother, whose name is Leland Rogers, he was one of the biggest record producers of psychedelic music in the 60s, especially 60s Texas psychedelic bands.
Then how did he end up coming to country music, Kenny Rogers, coming from psychedelic rock?
Well, that's a good question. I guess he is from Texas. I'm sure he had it in his background, and probably what happened that happens to lots of people. They find it's an easier path,
Yeah, it could be.
Or inclined to be appreciared in that genre. There's been a lot of bands that have shifted. Remember the band Exile?
I do. I want to kiss you all over.
Became one of the biggest country bands.
Again. Yeah. The night slowly ends. Yes, I know that song. All right. Let's get back to true crime. That way I do not have to kill you with my rendition of Exiles. I want to kiss you all over and over again.
Well,
till the night slowly ends. Till the night slowly ends. Sorry.
Oh, my goodness. So this guy is actually, it sounds like from your neck of the woods, Joel, a little bit.
Whoa. What do you mean, my neck of the woods? What are you talking about?
Like Twin Cities, Bay Area, Twin Cities area. Sure. He's a dentist. I hope he's not your dentist.
No, he would not be my dentist.
Because he's not going to be your dentist anymore.
No.
Sure
hope not.
His name is John Hagg, and he apparently decided, this dentist, that he and his community, let's put it that way.
Oh, the community dentists. Okay.
Yeah, no, the community that he lived in.
Oh.
There was a boathouse there that was in disrepair, I guess.
Oh, I bet he lives on Lake Minnetonka.
He lives somewhere special, somewhere like really like higher end. It doesn't say exactly where.
That'd be Lake Minnetonka. I'm sure of it.
They
that's where all
said
the rich people live.
They said that people were upset by the condition of one of the boathouses, right? Like, because it wasn't kept up or whatever. So they're like, oh my God, that eyesore, that one boathouse. First of all, if that's your biggest concern in life, oh my God, please visit somewhere. Go anywhere.
So what did this fine dentist do, the practitioner of the mandible arts? What did he do?
He decided that he was going to take care of that problem, Joel.
He did? Oh.
He did.
He doesn't look like a man capable of taking care of that problem.
Did he burn it down?
Yeah, that's what
he did.
Oh,
he did.
I guessed.
Burning down the boathouse. That could be a Kenny Rogers song. I was there burning down the boathouse.
No, it was a Talking Heads song.
Well, that is burning down the house.
Yeah.
And I don't want cheapen that song. So I'd rather cheapen Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yes. So anyway, the police tracked him down following the footprints in the snow.
So, wait a minute. This genius didn't think to himself, oh, wait a minute. I'm going to leave a perfect cast of my footprints in the fresh snow, and they'll never know who did this because they're not smart enough to figure it out. But they found him.
The sheriff's deputy wrote in his official notes, the tracks angled every 10 feet or so as if the suspect was turning around and checking behind him.
Checking his work. Is it still burning? Yes. Wow.
So they get to his house, right? And they find 2 portable gas cans by his garage with
good
their nozzles
Lord.
open.
Good Lord, this guy is a stupid dentist. This guy's a stupid dentist.
And then that's the sheriff deputy. So Hag, the dentist, starts explaining to the deputy that he walks his dog along a particular route before they even told him why they were there.
That's like being pulled over by the police, and even before they ask if you've been drinking. I only had 2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, that does not work out very well.
It did not work out well. And they took him into custody. And as soon as they did, he actually said, "It was me. I did it. I started the fire."
Oh, so he sang right away. My
Yes.
God, he's not a very good criminal. This guy's a horrible criminal.
And he faces up to 40 years in prison and an $100,000 fine on top of it. Yeah.
Damn, the nut dropper man's going to himself, man, you're a horrible criminal.
I know.
Horrible.
Boy, he better start selling stamps.
He better start selling stuff. He's going to need those stamps to write letters, strongly worded letters to his clients that he was no longer be able to attend to their dental needs.
I don't know.
Yeah.
40 years sounds pretty
That
long for
does
burning
seem-
down a boathouse.
Yeah, that does seem a little strict.
I agree. I have no idea and if he doesn't have a criminal record, which if he's a dentist, he doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not going to be that. It's just, they always list the most egregious sentence they can give. So
Yeah, they must really want this dentist. They must really want him behind bars.
Well,
Yeah.
anybody
Book 'em,
angry
Dano.
enough to burn down a boathouse because you don't like how it looks from your
'Cause you
big
don't.
picture window
It's such
has
an
issues.
ugly boathouse. I cannot
Yeah.
handle it anymore. I'm just going to burn it down. Now, who owned the boathouse, did they say?
They didn't say, but that guy was probably like, "Sweet, now I get the insurance
Right?
money."
Right?
Yeah.
New ugly boathouse coming up.
2-story ugly boathouse. Yeah.
With a mother-in-law house above it.
I know.
Just 'cause I wanna get rid of her.
Unbelievable. So he
Only
absolutely.
ugly boats invited.
Yeah. No fat boats. All right? Just leave those out.
He's going to be pretty upset by the dental care if he goes to prison, though. I can tell you that
pretty
right now.
Well, unless maybe they could employ him as a dentist. Is there a possibility, Dr. Cole, that they could do that?
No.
No.
He cannot work without a license, and as a felon, he can't have a license.
Okay. I was curious what they did with people with special skills on the inside.
I was thinking they wouldn't want him to get at the tools.
No. Well, he's an arsonist. He's not a murderer. As long as it's not
The
Bic
tools
Lighter.
of the trade, though, pokey, sharp metal.
True.
Yeah, anybody that's that angry. I mean, no, I've run
He
into
looks
both.
angry.
I've ran into both dentists, surgeons, doctors in prison before, and they have no special treatment whatsoever.
No,
and
but do
generally, they are absolutely kept away from whatever their profession was.
Do they have God complexes though when they hit
Oh
prison?
gosh, yes. Honestly, they're the worst.
Really?
They are.
Okay, I was just
Yeah.
kind of curious of whether a doctor, because recently we had a doctor busted around here for what was it, child solicitation or something, and
gosh.
so he was all smug, looking at his pictures like, "I'm a doctor, nothing can touch me."
I know, and appeal after appeal after appeal because they're good at writing legal jargon. And I'm like, why don't you just face up to it? You'll get out faster.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You won't spend half the time there, So,
Yeah, time, money.
Exactly. All right, Dr. Cole, where to next?
Well, speaking of doctors, I actually wanted to get to this story because it really shocked me. Henry actually saw it in our local paper. He took our car in this morning because we needed to get the brakes checked. And he saw it in the local paper and sent me a screenshot of it. So it's not patently funny, but I did want to touch on it if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Touch away. Well, that's not horrible.
Not all crime is humorous.
No, and this was really, really I mean, in some ways it's humorous to me because I couldn't believe it.
Okay.
So prosecutors say that a man named Kevin Moholic, he treated cancer-stricken Jean Terry with an alternative cure that ultimately killed her.
Oh no, that's horrible.
So she lost her long battle with cancer, but not to cancer, to the medicine that he was. So they're going for involuntary manslaughter. So he's not going to end up on my caseload. Let's put it that way. Even if he ends up in the system, but
Sure.
I was just so disturbed by it because I'd never heard of this before, and I kind of wanted to put it out there and to warn people as strongly as possible. She was engaging in something called cesium treatment.
The hell's that?
You mean the chemical cesium?
Right, the metal, right?
Metal,
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Because when I think of cesium, and right away when I heard that, when I read it in the paper, I was like, cesium. Because, going back to chemistry, right, like in high school, and I'm thinking cesium. Wait, isn't that like mercury?
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't that a heavy metal?
It is a silvery golden alkali metal with a melting point that is basically room temperature, and it's one of only 5 elemental metals that are liquid at that temperature. So it looks a lot like mercury. It has a little bit more of a golden tinge to it. So this person, Kevin Milholic, and he's not. This is what is disturbing me, though, is because he's just one in a long line of over 60. Like they're saying, 60 to 70 people nationwide have died from this treatment for cancer.
That's scary as all hell.
And it has caught on huge with naturopaths. Huge.
What is it?
They're prescribing it for a whole bunch of stuff. So cesium can be put into also like a pill. So where it's not the metal component, where it's called cesium chloride, essentially.
Okay.
So it can be put in a pill and you can take it as a supplement, essentially. I don't know why you would. I think that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because your body stores metals, heavy metals, oftentimes to its detriment. You certainly don't want to add more. We're usually getting heavy metals through things like lead pipes and things like that. Like you don't want them in your system. But someone came out with this idea that cesium destroys cancer.
Well, that sounds ridiculous because, if it's a mercury type metal, the phrase "mad as a hatter," that came from people making hats, but back in those days, they would use mercury in the hats, and at least in the making of them, and driving them insane and kill them eventually.
Yes, and all the people that were painting the hands on clocks that glowed, same sort of thing.
Yeah.
They became mad because they licked the brushes. So yeah, you're exactly right. So they're saying that cesium doesn't allow cancer to replicate, or it kills cancer. Well, I mean,
it kills everything.
Kills a lot of things. Yeah. But the thing that makes it even worse is that actually there is no evidence that cesium actually does kill cancer.
It sounds like somebody that is desperately looking for a cure to prolong their life or save their life is willing to try anything. And it was weird when my dad was dying of cancer, man. He would try whatever was on TV. I know he went on a nut kick. Yeah, I mean, like eating nuts like crazy because he read somewhere it helped.
The good fats,
yeah, stave off cancer or kill cancer, and then it was fruit. Oh, this fruit will save me, all that kind of stuff. So I get it. I mean, this poor person is dying of cancer and looking for any kind of reprieve to extend their life, and it sounds a lot like this individual. How heinous this is! It's horribly heinous. Preyed upon that person's willingness and hoping that to save their own life.
Absolutely. And what eventually killed her, so she's taking these cesium supplements, right? And in the end, what actually killed her was that he suggested that she inject it straight into the tumor in her breast.
Oh.
Ay.
Which her husband helped her do. So he injected straight cesium into her body, which stopped her heart.
Now, is he the husband? Is he being charged with anything?
No.
Okay.
And I can kind of see why. She gave this guy named Kevin, she mailed him a $5,000 check asking him to come out to Browns Valley to oversee her treatment in August. And then she also gifted him with another $5,000 check that he received from a caretaker the day that she died.
God, that's so sad.
It's awful. I mean, it's just such an awful story. I'm so glad that he's being charged. I really wish that it was more than involuntary manslaughter. I honestly, why it couldn't be murder, because to me it seems like murder. I took chemistry in high school, and I know that cesium's bad for you. Okay, high school.
Yeah,
I mean, I have psychopharmacology, but we don't use cesium in drugs. You know why? It's deadly.
I'm kind of surprised that maybe at some point her husband didn't, do a quick Google check and go, "Oh my God, this is gonna kill you."
Well, I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to say is that if you do a Google search for cesium chloride and cancer, there are tons of websites out there touting how awesome it is.
So, yeah, but wouldn't that in turn open them up to liability of murder by telling people that this is something that will kill them?
You'd think, but you know, like, and I've said this many times, I mean, the supplement industry is still not regulated by anyone or anything. And lots of supplements are extremely deadly. There's supplements like a potassium. By the way, don't take too much of it. You'll have a heart attack.
Yeah. In fact, just because I wrote on Facebook, hey, I'm not feeling well, this is what's going on. I've had more people private message me with these so-called old wives' tales things that will cure me without having to get surgery, for instance.
Right.
Exactly. No, I'm not going to take straight potassium because they claim, because that was one of them. Oh, if you inject yourself with a ton of potassium, it'll take care of your issue. No, it'll kill me.
Your heart like no one feels
this.
Right?
Yeah, it will.
And actually, too much calcium. Too much calcium does the same thing because, like, we are like, and that's the thing. This is basic biology. It's stuff you learn in psychopharm when I took these courses. Like the things that control the heart are called sodium calcium channels. Yeah. That controls your heart. So you take too much of it, your heart doesn't know what to do. And a heavy metal like that, they said that she had over 200 times the cesium that any normal person would have in their body. And because it just builds up, you can't get rid of it because it is a metal.
What is this quasi doctor facing?
Just involuntary manslaughter, and that's it.
That's it. No. I would think that murder one would fit, man. He knew he was killing her. He had to know. Come on, he had to know.
He says he doesn't. He said that it helped my sister because, of course, everyone knows somebody that was helped by injecting metal into their body. I mean, unbelievable. Like, if you don't have a doctorate, and even if you do, if it's not in that thing, like I talk about things sometimes, but my doctorate is in psychology. Make no mistake. Mm-hmm. Don't do research. Please do research. It just really surprised me that when I started looking around, they're saying, like I said, 60 to 70 people nationwide within the last couple of years have died from cesium poisoning.
Yeah, just run it by your primary and ask them, hey, is this a good idea? They're going to know.
And if they look at you like you're crazy, guess what? You might be crazy.
They might not be nuts.
They might not be in bed with big pharma. You might be nuts. Yeah. And I'm just saying that because I want to save people, because at this point, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of people not getting their kids vaccinated, injecting metals into tumors. Like, please, for the love of God, if you do not have education in that area, find someone you trust that does.
Yeah.
Don't listen to anybody peddling supplements.
This is not the dark ages, and supplements, you're right, can be very dangerous.
Extremely dangerous. And they can be very helpful too. Like I've been I've been helped by supplements in the past, but it was an adjunct to the Western medicine treatment. It wasn't in place of it. I've done acupuncture, I've done supplements with Western medicine.
Yeah, these people are clearly just trying to buck the Western medicine. You know, you don't need them. Go this route, homeopathic or this alternative medicine craze.
Well, and that's what
so be careful.
That's what they're saying about Jean Terry, is that if she had gone the Western medicine route, she probably would have lived.
Yeah.
Her breast cancer was not considered fatal at that point.
She was just so afraid of it, because the word
she said,
cancer.
I don't want to do it.
The word cancer is scary in any context, and especially when you're the one with it. And so I get it. I get the fear and wanting that out of your body. But my Lord, that poor lady and her family. And hopefully she didn't have any children. I pray that she didn't have any children that she left behind.
I mean, they offered her regular cancer treatment, which she turned down over and over again. So I don't know. It's a choice. You do what you want to do. But just the fact that Western doctor saying she didn't need to die is scary.
Ultimately, we all have that ability to choose our own treatments, and that's a wonderful thing, but it's also comes a responsibility. So
agreed.
Be careful. What do you think, Eric? That's nuts.
Oh, it reminds me of the scene. Remember toward the end of the Andy Kaufman movie, A Man on the Moon?
Oh, yeah.
he's over in like the Philippines or something with this just last gas. It's basically like a witch doctor type operation. Remember with chicken blood and everything.
Yep.
And he happens to see behind, like looks behind the curtain kind of thing and sees that it's all a total scam. And you just see him laughing. He's laughing at the irony of it all and just how bizarre life is. That he finds himself in this situation and with that condition in his 30s. It was really terrible.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Well, it's really akin to the old. You may as well go to a revival and go to a faith healer. At least you won't die from that, generally speaking. But that metal will kill you.
Generally speaking.
Generally speaking, you won't unless you go to one with snakes. And I told you about that story, didn't I? When I was stuck in the tent with that snake.
Man, I don't know if you did.
Oh, my.
Whip it on it.
Oh, I know it's not true crime, but years and years and years ago, I was in a southern state. Now, to avoid offending anybody that lives in that state, I will not mention the state name. I was in this southern state, and let's just say it rhymes with Virginia. And I was there. And I met a girl at a gathering. I think it was a Walmart of all things. And she was a cute little number. And I was in my early 20s, so I was gullible enough to, chase the tail, as it were. And she said, hey, I'd really like to go on a date, but in order for us to go on a date, my faith says that you need to come to church with me and that you need to partake of my faith. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I can go sit through one service if that's going to get me where I want to go, if you know what I'm saying. So I show up, and it's a big white, almost like a big top tent. And I'm thinking, what the hell am I getting myself into? So I go in there, right? And there's this guy, this priest, he's kind of a heavier set preacher up there going, the faith of the God, Lord is my shepherd, and, the normal things you'd expect to hear. And I'm listening, and they're speaking in tongues towards the front of the church. And I'm like, oh, this is really weird. So then this big glass case comes out, huge glass case. And inside this case is, let me get rid of, I don't know why my phone is ringing. But inside this glass case was a black viper. Biggest viper I've ever seen in my life. Huge snake. And he takes it out. He's gyrating and dancing and doing his thing and saying how God is protecting him. And obviously he's been bitten before because he's like, this viper could bite me and I will be just fine. The faith of God has got my back, basically. And this viper struck him in the neck so fast, like boop. I mean, it was you couldn't even see it was so fast. This viper bites him. He continues to dance. Like, this has obviously happened before, and he believes that he is protected by God. The guy falls over about maybe 3 minutes later like a stone statue. Like, feet up in the air, falls back. Well, the snake goes scurrying off in this time, and all the parishioners get up. They go to the front of the church. Oh, my God, our leader has fallen, basically, is what they're doing. So they call 911. Someone had a cell phone, so they called 911. Where someone from Virginia would have had a cell phone in the 90s is anyone's guess, but they had one. And so they called 911. Here they go, and they all leave. They follow the preacher over to the hospital, and they leave. And there's the snake, this huge black mamba thing is still in the church, and I can hear it slithering around. And so I jump up on a pew because there's wooden pews, and there's another guy there. And he wasn't from the area either. I said, how the hell did you get here? And he says, a girl. And I said, oh, me too. and I said, what, he says, what are we going to do? And I said, I don't know. Why don't you jump down and find out? I'm not jumping down. Well, come on. Someone's got to jump down here. So after about 2 hours of hearing the black mamba come around us and by our feet and watching this thing slither, I decided it was time to leave. And I took my moment to leave. And the guy screams at me, don't leave me alone with it. And I leave, right? Well, come to find out, the original snake that this guy used, because I ran into a couple people that knew of the church well enough to know the inner workings, he bought the original snake from a pet shop that it had its glands removed or whatever, so it couldn't hurt him if he did get bit.
Oh,
well,
nice.
It died. And I guess a couple good old boys knew of a black water moccasin. So they got like a big black snake. I'm not sure. I'm not an herpetologist or whatever they're called. So I can't tell you the exact breed. It was big and horribly venomous. Well, they thought the guy was legit, so they put that thing in the case.
Sure.
Oh my Lord.
So, here's the faith healer guy going, I won't save you. And next thing you know, exactly. So that's my story of going to a revival in a tent and being cornered by a snake. All for what? The wrong reasons. A girl.
Well, some of those guys actually can become immune to the venom.
Well, this guy clearly was not.
This guy, but yeah, you can if you dose yourself in small doses over a long period of time. You could technically become.
I don't believe this guy though. I mean, this guy's eyes rolled back in his head, and he was foaming at the mouth, kind of thing.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So I think he was on his way out.
Wow.
But there was a lot of praying going on that day.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that is crazy. You know what? I kind of have a story that, in some odd way, relates to that.
Oh, you do? Oh,
I do.
Right.
There is a man from Sulphur City, Louisiana, and he is facing charges of peeping through people's windows.
Yes. I noticed the black eye he has, so he must have been caught.
I know, right? So somebody got to him before the cops, I'm thinking. So anyway, he was charged with peeping, but he was doing it in a fairly realistic looking gorilla costume.
Was he going to blame Bigfoot? Bigfoot made me do it.
I don't know. I was so confused by it.
Wait a second. Let's back up for a second. Let me absorb this. There's this guy with a black eye, now has a black eye, assuming he got caught, was looking through people's windows, donning a lifelike gorilla outfit. Yeah. And he didn't think that people would suspect that it wasn't, of him looking through the windows? Well, that's all.
Well, I don't know. That's where I'm so confused. Are you not going to call the cops if it's a gorilla? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
you're going to call animal control.
Yeah, maybe he's hoping they have a little soft spot in their hearts for gorillas.
That's why I was confused, because I'm like, okay, look, even if the gorilla's looking in my window, I think I'm calling someone.
Well, what gave it away that he was a man? I mean, So let's just say, for argument's sake, it could have got really bad really fast, because somebody could have said, "Oh my God, that's a wild gorilla, and it's very, very dangerous. Get my 30-06.
Right,
We're gonna go ahead and
right?
kill this thing. It's a wild gorilla. He's lucky he didn't meet the bad end of my odd 6."
He actually is. I mean, if somebody did suspect that it truly was a wild animal, I can absolutely see someone putting it down out of fear. And
yes,
okay, it must have escaped from somewhere. It can't just run around wild.
Exactly.
But I guess I just am confused by the whole thing. I feel like if it was happening to me, that I'd want to open the window and say to him, "Did you think I wasn't going to call someone?" I'm confused by your...
Marge, guard the banana stash.
Right, what's happening in your mind here? I don't...
Yeah.
Is it just more fun for you?
Here's my guess. My guess is it wasn't specific to a gorilla. He may have had access for some reason to that
gorilla
suit. And it was just his disguise. It could have been anything. It could have been an alien, could have been Tinkerbell.
Alien would have been cool, though, because then people, could have yelled, "No! I hate anal probing aliens, Marge! Kill it!"
So that's my guess. My guess is it was just a disguise.
It was a bad disguise, evidently bad enough to where it looked like he was
wearing a mask,
right? Yeah, he should have wore a Michael Myers mask or something.
I know, the whole outfit, Louisiana, it's hot,
it's sticky.
Was it the tennis shoes that gave him away? Look, that monkey's wearing Nikes.
Is that gorilla using a cell phone? Yeah, I don't. The whole thing was just really weird.
No opposable thumbs. Oh my God.
How does he text? Oh my God. So that one was a mystery to me. I have Louisiana's taken first place this tonight. There's another one. This one though is out of Lincoln. Is that Nebraska? I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Last I looked.
Thank you.
Although there's a Lincoln in pretty much every state.
Every
but
state.
Usually it's
every
Nebraska.
state. Yes. Usually when they refer to it is Nebraska. Yes, you're correct.
I hope that it is. So it's it's hard for me not to laugh. So this is in the Lincoln Journal-Star. Apparently, there is a candidate there for some sort of office for Congress. Okay, and his name is Jeff Fortenberry. I want to say
that's a name right there, Fortenberry.
Fortenberry, yes.
Fortenberry's your man.
And they were having some problems back when he was running for Congress. And it took them a while to track down a person that was purposely defacing his campaign signs.
But it's so easy to do with a name like Fortenberry.
Well, there's a very
googly eyes.
There's a juvenile thing that you can do to the name Fortenberry if you change one of the letters.
Oh, I'd so do that.
Which was done. And the other thing that was done was the person put huge, like you were saying, Eric, huge googly eyes on the candidate.
Fortenberry, the only man with bedroom googly eyes, and he wants to come run for you.
Yes. And so this was happening everywhere, I guess. So all of his, big, like the campaign billboards had his name changed and huge googly eyes.
3 billboards outside Lincoln, Nebraska.
We know you could choose any googly-eyed candidate, but we would ask you to choose Fortenberry.
So apparently there is a woman, I swear to God, this is her name, Patricia Wanch Hill.
Wow, that's another long handle of a name.
So they're calling her in the article Wanch Hill, and it's hard to even read it. But she's she's a research assistant professor of sociology and a political activist out of Virginia.
Wow.
Apparently.
She must be with
and
the
her
defaced
activism
signs.
involves googly eyes.
It does. It does. And she is a fan of the googly eyes.
They caught her, apparently, because her fingerprints are in a national database, and they got them off the googly eye stickers.
Oh, no. So she's a criminal, I'm assuming, and she likes to vandalize not really cool signs.
You know what, though? Like, I just want to be part of the crime lab in Lincoln that's like, okay, you want me to test these googly eyes for fingerprints? Okay.
Clarissa, that was the crime of the decade in that town. Dozens and dozens of people were affected by that. Dozens.
I know, right? Like I could test the backlog rape kits for you, but no, the googly eye thing, that's a problem. Yeah, I'll get right on that.
Something tells me that Fortenberry has some money.
Fortenberry must have some money because that's the dumbest expenditure I've ever heard.
How it got to the forefront of the crime lab. Get the boys on this now. He's got a C note in it.
I know it's a misdemeanor, and the most that she can get, I guess, is like a $500 fine. I mean, how much did it cost to test everything?
True, but also it might be $500 fine, but cost him a lifetime of humility, is what it
Didn't
did.
it though? He doesn't look bad with the googly eyes.
No, I think he looks like a deranged principal.
I mean, I'm just saying he doesn't look patently bad. I feel like
I would be more upset with the haircut if I were him. Look at that thing on him.
I know. It looks like he goes to Supercut.
It does. He looks like Opie that aged horribly.
I mean, she could have put a Hitler mustache on him,
Now,
googly eyes in the grand
would have
scheme of
been
things.
cool. That would have been cool at the same time disturbing, but better than googly eyes. Come on. Come on.
They put money into finding this person. That's all I can say.
He looks vaguely like Susan Sarandon.
I noticed that. You're right.
She has googly eyes.
Yeah, in the right light, I could see him passing off, but not as Rocky Horror Picture Show Susan. More like older, more distinguished Susan Sarandon.
Yes, naturally.
Yeah, gotcha. Not the hot one from Rocky Horror Picture Show. Okay.
Well, yeah, he's trying to rock the distinguished look.
He is, but comes off as weird. Okay, that is a weird case. Do you want to make sure we hit the Momo thing, or
I
that
would
where
like
you
to. And by the way, he still did get elected to Congress.
did?
He just needs to shut up.
Now, does he now wear the springy, googly eyes and the glasses now just to keep up the facade in case that's something that did get him elected?
Actually, like without the googly eyes, he's far less interesting to look at.
Well, I was going to say, at least the googly eyes, you have something interesting to look at.
Yeah. So he was elected despite that. But yes, I do want to get to the Momo thing because I'm kind of okay. Does one of you want to run down what is going on with that? You probably know more about it than I do.
Eric, I think maybe is a little more has the finger in the pulse of that one. Don't you?
He does.
All right.
Yeah, I tweeted about it. It's one of these viral things. It's taken a while to take off. Like when you're hearing about some of these things, it's back in 2018. It's just kind of getting around now. Apparently, somehow, some way, this shows up, that picture, the Momo looking thing, which is actually a sculpture. It's a Japanese sculpture. I'm not exactly sure how it came to be associated with this Momo thing, but basically it starts appearing on your Instagram feed, and then with a succession of increasingly alarming challenges, ending with telling you to kill yourself.
Yeah, I was cool
really
with it
quite
until
appalling.
Yeah, I was really cool with it until I heard the "Go kill yourself, go kill yourself now."
Yeah, and apparently, according to this article, the one that Clarissa brought, 2 kids in Colombia did kill themselves, but it's very alarming. I don't know why things spiral so out of control. Why are these challenges so appealing? Because for the most part, the ones you hear about, the ones that really catch on, they are just plain dangerous.
Yeah.
Stupid and dangerous.
Yeah, I'm more of a fan of the Charlie challenge, but that's just me.
What's that?
Something to do with pencils and yes and no,
and summoning
the demon named Charlie. That whole thing.
I see. Yeah, it was very weird to me. I did go to Snopes to kind of check out how real is this. That's the thing, is that there are suicides of some disturbingly young kids, and that's kind of been a trend in general in the United States too, of some kids as young as 9 years old committing suicide, but it's not definitively linked to this Momo challenge. It's been brought up in connection with it, but there's no police information that definitively links it. So I feel like until that happens, I kind of want to reserve judgment on the
that Momo challenge. Well, give it a try, Clarissa. You might have a lot of fun with it. There's a lot of different challenges out there that are quite scary.
Are they? Yeah, I'm sorry. It takes a whole lot to scare. I can't, that's not going to scare me. And somebody saying, go ahead, kill yourself. No.
Yeah, no, that part I think is just stupid. There's one that you create a doll, and then you put a knife next to it in the bathtub, and then you go hide. You go, I'm it, and then you go hide, and I guess the doll or something's supposed to come to life and look for you. And then
I would be so disappointed if it didn't, man.
Yeah, they're all on. They're all on.
I don't want to waste my time on that.
Yeah,
I go back in there, the doll's just sitting there with the knife.
That's generally what for me. That's what happened. It didn't try to kill me.
Yeah.
No, I didn't try it either. So
I'm not a superstitious person. Although I will say I will not use Ouija boards. They freak me out. I will not do that.
Well, why do they freak you out if you're not superstitious? What you got to lose?
No. I mean, I'm not superstitious when it comes to urban legends. Not superstitious.
Whoa, hold on. But you are, ma'am, on this very show, and not to argue with you, but just to clarify, you have said on this very show that you lean, and I'm not putting words in your mouth. At least if I am, correct me. That you are atheist, right?
Correct.
You lean. Okay,
I am.
Just so I'm not speaking out of school here. Why would you fear a Ouija board if you don't believe that there's anything on the hereafter?
Oh, I said I'm an atheist. That means I don't believe in God. I think that no. I think that there are other entities out there, including good ones, right? I'm just saying I don't believe in a traditional afterlife like people think of it. I'm certainly not Christian.
I was just curious because I've heard other atheists, that friends of mine, a lot of people that work in radio, oddly enough, are atheists, have said, I don't care about Ouija boards. Nothing's real anyway.
Oh,
why would I care?
No.
Because it doesn't exist. So I just want to clarify.
Yeah, no, I work inside the prison system. I know something else exists. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you would know because prison is an absolute. I've never been to a prison that wasn't haunted. When someone called me in to investigate after the fact.
Yeah,
there's always something there.
They don't exist, and I've heard way too many stories from prisoners that I absolutely do trust. They are not pulling my leg. People that are not scared of anything, that are absolutely terrified. They see things. I don't
gotta have you on a Thursday edition to tell us about some prison stories.
Oh, I've got some
that are Eric. Doesn't that sound just like an edition of the Paranormal Thursday?
It absolutely does, if she is allowed to discuss such things.
As long as I disguise who I'm talking about,
exactly.
I won't use their names. Yeah, sure.
We will change their names. Everyone's name would be Mike, Jim, and Dan.
Perfect.
We will change their names.
Jimmy Dan.
That's not a problem. Speaking of Jimmy Dan, we gotta run to break, and Jimmy Dan has nothing to do with break. I just thought I'd throw him in there. We got to run a break. We come back. More Criminal Code. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this. Boo-boo.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting.
Location.
My backyard.
Oh, your backyard. Try telling a bear that.
I did, and this bear talked back.
Talking bear, that's rich.
No, wait, it was Smokey Bear.
Smokey? Why didn't you say so?
I did say so.
Continue.
I was burning yard waste.
No, boy.
He told me to burn legally and responsibly, and to remember that if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
And as always, he's right. 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans. That means 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
Yeah, I know that now.
Thanks to me.
Actually, thanks to Smokey.
As usual, the talking bear gets all the credit. Get your Smokey on. Always burn responsibly and contact your local fire department for open burning regulations. Because 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented. Brought to you by Smokey Bear, the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at smokeybear.com. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
I got a rather serious problem over here.
All right, what are we looking at?
Cranky mother-in-law asleep on the couch in the man cave.
Dear God.
It gets worse.
That's impossible.
And she's passed out on the remote.
I stand corrected.
What do I do?
Okay, I want you to grab a Torrent Big Red hydraulic bottle jack.
Okay.
Now you wedge that bad boy in under your mother-in-law and crank her up skyward.
It's working. And got the remote.
Great. Now grab that Torrent Big Red 2-ton folding shop crane and put that woman on wheels.
And away we go.
There's no problem a little horsepower can't solve. Northern Tool and Equipment.
Welcome back to After Hours AM, the Criminal Code, everybody. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis. Right along with me,
Eric Olsen and
Dr. Clarissa Cole.
Well, Dr. Cole, we got a hell of a barn burner slobber knocker. Kind of. I know. I just wanted to use those words in a sentence tonight. I don't know why.
It's a Donnybrook.
It's a Donnybrook. We are covering, of course, one of the UK's strangest serial killers. And I will step aside and let you guys take it from here.
All right. Well, I have a very brief intro that just leads right into the tale, odd as it may be, but we will certainly leave it to Dr. Cole to present the case. But this is a disturbing but mesmerizing episode wherein Dr. Clarissa Cole, who, of course, you all know, is a forensic psychologist in the California penal system, we're going to examine the murderous ways of mid-century British strangler John Christie. Christie was a late-blooming serial strangler of women in mid-century London. Here is his twisted tale.
Is that my cue?
Yeah, that would be your cue right there.
I believe that was your...
Yeah, that was your deal right there.
Ooh, as they say.
Yeah, it's all good. Go ahead, take over.
Okay. All right. Well, yes, it is. I find his story to be very odd because he started as late as he did. So, anyway, the young John Christie was actually born at the turn of the last century. He was born in 1899 in England. And he was described as being very quiet. He didn't socialize much. He wasn't very popular, but he did really well in school. He was smart. He sang in the church choir. He was literally a Boy Scout, that sort of thing. And he worked as like a cinema projectionist for a while. So he, wasn't very social, but there was no stories of him really being bullied either. He was just a quiet kid.
Gotcha.
And in 1916, he was called up by the British Army to serve as an infantryman, and his service was satisfactory. So that is actually also odd. So when we're talking about serial killers, one thing that, and just criminals in general, one thing that if you study them as much as I do, that people will notice is that very typically they have troubled youths that are marked by a lot of violence, and they typically do really poorly in both school and the military. And that was not the case with John Christie. So that is notable that he did fine in the Army. He did suffer through a mustard gas attack that put him in the hospital for a month. And he claimed that this attack left him unable to speak loudly for the rest of his life, which was never corroborated by anyone. They wouldn't have let him go back if they thought he was impaired in some way. Yeah. But he was impaired in a more intimate way. So John was supposedly attracted to adult women, but he had a lot of trouble performing in bed. And
that soldier was not standing at attention to go to
it
battle.
Was not.
Gotcha.
They used to call him Can't Do It Christie.
Oh, gosh, that's not going to hurt the guy's ego.
I know, right? I'm like, oh my God.
Why would they know anyway?
Yeah. What was he
I always
people?
walk around talking about bouts of ED.
Always. I do commercials once in a while. If you're like me and you're
outside town about it.
If you got a limp pickle.
My guess is that he courted the wrong girl and that she spread it around. So, he got this horrible nickname, but he found out shortly thereafter that whenever he was with a prostitute, he was fine.
So obviously it's a mental issue.
Correct. Yes. There was never any physical issue. And I mean, quite honestly, most ED is like a recurrent ED that is not amenable to a lot of things. Most of it is psychological, actually. So that's fairly common.
Okay.
And this continued into his adulthood. And he eventually did get married to a woman named Ethel Simpson, but he wasn't really able to perform sexually with her either.
No, because he knew her.
Right. Yeah, exactly. He's married. It's a legit relationship.
Yeah, he likes them, or he can name them whatever he wants.
Yeah, so he kept seeing prostitutes. He was never faithful. So in that way,
excuse me one moment.
Yes.
May I interject?
Of course.
What might be the psychological reason? Why would someone be able to perform like a champ with prostitutes?
Like a champ.
With prostitutes, but not whatever legitimate, whatever that means, relationships, girlfriend / wife. What would underlie that, or both?
Also incredibly common for people that are not serial killers. Incredibly common. It's kind of a mixture of things. So when you're with somebody that is a girlfriend, a wife, a significant other, you are worried about what they think. Just inherently, you're worried about pleasing them. You want them to think the best of you. You want them to think that you're good in bed. So there's a whole extra level of pressure. And on top of that, what we've found out with a lot of guys that do end up having other of these criminal issues is that sometimes their proclivities, what they like in the bedroom, is something that their significant other is not willing to do, that a prostitute will.
Oh, gotcha. They're willing to get dirty, if you know. Yeah, I mean,
correct. Yeah. So maybe he has a proclivity that maybe even his wife or girlfriend would be into, but he doesn't. That's not.
Oh,
that's not for her.
He's a sick puppy, is what you're saying?
my guess is
Johnny's
that,
got some issues in the old head.
Yeah, that's my guess. My guess is that he liked sex a certain way, and he felt like at that time, especially, that he couldn't, pursue that with a girlfriend or his wife.
Well, yeah. Or, hey, as long as no one gets hurt, I say let your freak flag fly.
Better to do it with your partner if you can.
I'm saying, if that's, hey, if you guys are into that and everyone's okay with it and they all agree to it, whatever it may be, hey, you know what? And it's agreeable in all parties. Go right ahead, go nuts.
I do have a kind of a weird sort of sidebar to that. I had a patient a long time ago, not in the prison system, who had a proclivity where he liked to wear women's underwear.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's that. They wrote a whole song, a Christmas song about it.
What?
You didn't hear about the walking around in women's underpants? You didn't hear that song?
Yes,
you've heard it, right, Eric?
Yes, yeah. I would. Yes,
it was an ode right to that very activity.
I see.
Walking in a women's underpants.
Exactly.
I have not, but I assume there.
Oh my good
Lord! Exactly. One of the reasons that he felt like he couldn't tell anyone is because people would mock that proclivity, or they would misunderstand it as though he were wanting to be, a transvestite.
Not in today's world. They give him his own reality show.
Yeah, like people were really kind of misunderstanding that phenomenon. Like he was afraid to tell somebody because he thought like, no, I'm not a crossdresser. No, I'm not a transvestite. This is just a preference of mine. And he was so embarrassed about it. And I'm like, oh my God, you just honestly just find somebody that is into it. Like really, like life is too short to be embarrassed about something that isn't hurting anybody else. And to be honest, isn't wrong. There's nothing wrong about it. If you like to wear women's underwear, you know what? They're soft, they're silky, they're amazing. They come in lots of different colors. I do not blame you.
Yeah, well, there's a whole movie about it with Dr. Frankfurter. So, yeah, check it out.
No, but that's transvestism, and that is what he was afraid of. He's afraid of being judged and afraid of being looked at as a transvestite, where you dress all in women's clothing, which is not what he did. But, it's one of those things. It's like, if you have a preference, don't worry about it. Stop judging yourself so harshly, man. People like what they like.
But this is a different time, though, in the world. I mean, this is just after World War I. Things are very buttoned up. Any deviant type activity would have been frowned upon harshly.
That's true, and I think that like sort of coming of age in that world where World War I, is going on, and things are like desperately serious, and you
want to break out the thongs. I mean, that might not be the greatest move right there.
And kind of some dire straits going on too in England at that time. Like life is hard, and
he's not. That's the problem.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
But by 1937, so he's married to Ethel, right? And they had problems in the beginning, but they're kind of getting on the right track, right? So they move into a flat at 10 Rillington Place in Notting Hill, which is a working class area of London, is what I called it. That's what it is now. But to be clear, a lower class working class area of London at that time.
Like almost like a ghetto setting.
It is very close to it's not a ghetto, but it certainly is not what one would consider just regular.
Okay. Like almost one notch above Skid Row. Deal.
It is, gotcha. Yes. Okay. I mean, they had their own apartment, but that's about it. So the conditions are not great, but Christie secured employment as a foreman at the Commodore Cinema, and then he joined the War Reserve Police at the beginning of the Second World War. And he had a criminal record at this point, but the criminal record was for things like theft, larceny, stealing postal orders, nothing really...
stamps, yeah.
Yeah, stealing mail, nothing really big, right? So it's not really that surprising. So he was, the War Reserve Police beginning of the World War, and for whatever reason, not long after that, he began his killing spree, and he was 44 years old at the time.
That's pretty old to start killing people off. I mean, by then you'd think they're winding down their killing careers.
They're usually in the middle of it. If it's a serial killer, they're usually kind of like full sprint at that point, and starting to wind down.
Yeah, because it's physically demanding, I would imagine. It's got to be the disposal's got to be horrible. That's probably the hitch in the ointment right there.
It is tough work. You've got to get past people's physical and emotional defenses. It's a nightmare. So he began his killing spree with his first victim, who was only 21. She was a prostitute. Who, remember, he's still seeing prostitutes.
Yes.
He invited her back to their apartment because his wife was out of town visiting relatives.
Oh, of course he was.
Yeah, and he said that his first victim he strangled rather impulsively, which leads me to think, like we were talking about, that may have been part of his proclivities.
Do you think that he killed the prostitute because he had a feeling that no one would miss her? Because, we're talking 1940s Europe at that time. It's a long time ago, and really, quite honestly, that trade was looked down upon quite harshly. And
I think there's that, but I think it may have been his first victim. I think may have been somewhat impulsive. I think maybe it was sex play kind of gone awry.
Thrill kill, give it a try. Yeah.
So his first victim he kills with a length of rope. Who knows why he had it around? That's what I said. Maybe it had something to do with his proclivities because he had rope around. And he kills her, strangles her, and then he buried her body in the back garden behind the house.
Well, that's convenient.
Right?
Right there in the garden?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And he didn't think that anyone would ever notice that there's a body in his garden?
Yeah, and it's weird, too, because it was an apartment building. He wasn't the only person that used it. Yeah.
He probably didn't go 6 feet deep. It's probably a pretty shallow grave,
The neighbor's like, I was going to have a barbecue out here. And he's like, nope, digging it up.
What's that hand sticking out of all the beans for?
Can't do it now. He buries her out there, and then he meets his second victim, who was a woman at a job. He worked at a radio factory after that. Her name was Muriel Edie, and he somehow convinced her that he'd concocted a special mixture that would cure her bronchitis.
Oh.
Huh.
Wow. Man.
Well, that really did require a fair amount of work, didn't it?
It did, because he had to come up with the concoction.
Right, and he got a jar that he filled with Friar's balsam, which I had to look up. I'm like, what is that? Speaking of strange homeopathic recipes, Friar's balsam is actually pretty good for things like bronchitis. It's an expectorant and an antiseptic.
Wow, so that would almost be in the homeopathic realm of things. You could take that and actually feel a little bit better if you had the bronchitis.
Apparently, yeah. So he had this in a jar, and he was having her inhale it, and it has a fairly strong scent, right? So she's inhaling this Friar's balsam, and as she's doing this, he inserts a tube into the jar that she's inhaling from, like from the other end of the jar, and this tube was hooked up to the household gas pipe.
Oh my God! Why didn't she just stop inhaling at that point and go, "Whoa, that doesn't smell right"?
Because at that time, you have to remember, they scented household gas, but not at this point.
Oh.
Now, household gas is scented, so you smell it. Back then,
gotcha.
Odorless.
Completely odorless. That's why it has that stinky rotten egg smell, so you know it.
Gotcha.
Right, and to remind the audience, I was going to say, to remind the audience, if you don't know, the smell of household gas is actually made to smell that way. It is added afterwards because carbon monoxide has no scent. So it was 15% carbon monoxide too back then, which is
that's a lot
truck load.
Yeah.
So she passed out pretty quick from inhaling carbon monoxide, and he then raped her and murdered her by strangulation as well, and buried her right next to Ruth, his first victim.
This is horrible. And the most glaring problem I see right now, aside from the murder, which is huge, is the disposal way he's doing it. He's bound to get caught with his disposal methods. He's just bound to get
keeping
caught.
him close to home, literally in the home.
In the home.
Or in your backyard.
Yeah.
Never a good idea. Because you know why? You live there.
That's right. Haven't you ever heard, don't poop where you live? Poop where you eat?
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, you're not you didn't put them way out in the middle of somewhere where you don't know if somebody's digging it up. You know?
True. Yeah, no, I hear you. It's just so strange that you'd want to keep. Is that a normal trait, Dr. Cole, where serial killers want to keep their bodies of their victims close?
They do usually want to at least visit them if they don't keep the bodies close. If there's a sexual component, and there clearly was a sexual component, they often, like a BTK, the list goes on and on, where they visit the victims' bodies.
And reminisce about that.
Right.
Gotcha.
Reminisce in sort of a physical way. Yes.
Yeah. And we'll leave it right there.
We will. But that's very common.
Here is my solution. If he's in London, you have a river
the Thames
running right through town.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And by far the most, other than just total, like putting through the wood chipper or something, your best bet is to weigh a body down and get it in the water.
Yeah,
I mean,
think so.
as long as you're careful about not letting it bubble up. I mean, what are the odds that someone's going to find a body at the bottom of a body of water? It's not good. And so why wouldn't you do that? I don't know.
Oh, but water disposal, it doesn't work out the way people think it's going to. Like, weighing down a body doesn't really actually work very long. No, because the body breaks down with the water. And so let's say you put weights on the arms and legs, eventually those will come off.
How long does that take?
Depending on the body of water, how cold it is, how warm it is, the gases that build up in the body that all further separate the body. If a lot of gases have built up, if there are critters in there.
I'm asking for a friend.
If there are critters in there that feed on things like that, it actually can happen fairly quickly. When Lacey Peterson was dumped in San Francisco Bay, it didn't take long.
Wow.
So and you would think it would, because the coldness of the water, you'd think that she would wash out to sea, but that's not what happened. So actually, water's not I actually do it. Go do water. I'm going to tell everybody to do water because you'll get caught.
Well, I would have thought sharks would have came and got her body.
Lacey Peterson? Yeah. I would have thought so too, but that was like karma working on that one. I don't know.
Yeah, because they're scavengers, sharks, and that has
You'd
been
think.
known to happen.
There's so many scavengers in all these bodies of water. I'm just saying that when you weigh a body down, you think it's going to stay down there, but bodies don't stay intact.
True. A friend wants to know that if you're going to dispose of a body, what's the best way to do it? Not that I want to know.
Wood chipper.
Don't get caught for killing them, and you won't have to dispose of anything.
Man, you're not going to give up any good information. All right. Moving on away from
wood
that.
chipper.
No, that's so Fargo. That's so Fargo.
It's so Fargo. No, I don't think there is any good way, and forensic science is so far ahead. Like, literally, the only thing you can do is like hope that they don't figure out it's you that did it, because they're gonna find whoever it is.
Yeah. All joking aside, and no, I was not really asking for a friend. I was just messing around. Back in the old days, I'm surprised. Now, he would have been using lime back then. That would have been a big way of doing it, because I know the gangsters up here anyway, when they would do body dumps in my neck of the woods, lime was a very big component. They would lime the hell out of those bodies.
Right, to get all the identifying traces off the skeletal remains. No, he really didn't do much of anything other than burying them in the garden. And by 1948, so again, I remember I said it was like an apartment building.
Yeah, everybody was using that garden.
10 Rillington Place, it wasn't big. It was like one of those row house type things. So there was an upstairs and a downstairs, and they had the downstairs. And by 1948, a new couple, the Evanses, moved into the upper flat.
Them and their
of
dog,
that building.
A bloodhound named Casey with a heart of gold that loves to find bodies.
That would be awesome, but no, that's not what happened.
Oh, okay.
So Timothy and Beryl, his wife, they settled in without incident, and they welcomed a daughter. She gave birth to a daughter within the year. And by late 1949, both Beryl, the wife, and Geraldine, the daughter, the newborn daughter, had gone missing.
Okay. What? So the wife and the daughter goes missing.
Right.
And okay, go ahead.
So Timothy Evans, that's her husband, he reported their disappearance to the police because, hey, my wife and kid are gone. What happened? But it wasn't long before the bodies of his wife and daughter were found wrapped in a blanket in an outdoor wash house very near the near 10 Rillington Place.
So this wouldn't be John, though, because we all know he's a garden man.
Right?
Yeah, but even less was it the husband/father.
Right. So basically, her body barrel, the wife's body showed signs of having been sexually assaulted and physically assaulted before her death. And Evans, the husband, swore that he had nothing to do with it. I mean, he is the one that reported them missing. Not that means anything necessarily, but he swore he had nothing to do with it. He pointed the finger at Christie.
Oh. So they started looking at Christie real close.
Yes, and Christie denied any wrongdoing, and instead he gave police plenty of sordid details about the arguments that he'd overheard between Timothy and Beryl during the time that they lived upstairs together. Yeah.
So,
and I guess they fought a lot.
So they were quite passionate in their relationship when it came to fighting. They loved it. It was their thing.
Apparently, yeah, and most people knew that about them, I guess. That was common. Like,
so, but okay, did John whack her off? I mean, was he the guy that did her in? Him and the baby, I might add. You know,
right? The baby's gone too.
I would say it's the husband personally, because usually if the kid is killed, it's usually the husband. Because men normally, you would think, and I could be wrong, Dr. Cole, would hesitate at killing their own child.
Some men would hesitate at killing their own child, and often if the wife is sort of their perceived problem, they're not a family annihilator. Yes, just the wife would be harmed, not the child.
Yeah.
But in this case, both were gone, completely missing, and they found them dead. But police believed John Christie over Timothy Evans, the husband, and so Evans went to trial. So he was tried. He had a full-on jury trial, the husband, and he was found guilty and sentenced to hang, and he did. In March of 1950.
Damn.
A miscarriage of justice? I don't like it.
No, me neither.
Yes. And it was due in large part to John Christie's testimony for the prosecution. He was like their star witness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even though he was the killer.
Yeah. Even though he was the one that did the deed, he was able to have the plausible deniability. Well, I did hear them fighting. And I think it was the husband that killed him. And so the husband got nailed with the murders and was put to death. Christie runs around going, yippee, I got away with it. You know, no one's going to suspect me. So then what happened? Or should we wait till after the break?
Ooh, good question. Oh, you know what? I do want to point this out to people that when I put photographs, by the way, of this on my website, I didn't realize that you could actually see a wrapped up body under one of the floorboards. I am looking at it right now, and you can. So
that's why I used that one.
You're welcome.
By the way.
Nothing says murder like a wrapped up body under the floorboards. Just ask Edgar Allan Poe. We'll be right back right after this.
Hi, Tom Bodette. If you can hear me, then you have an internet connection, which means you can do cool things online, like listen to streaming radio, obviously, or watch a video of a monkey washing a cat. Let your freak flag fly. Or you can book a room at a great price at Motel6.com. Isn't the internet wonderful? Everything you want right at your fingertips, and whoa, did not need to see that. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. I paid more than the minimum each month, and soon enough, it was gone.
So you're just giving up?
Giving up on what?
The life of luxury. Egyptian cotton, caviar Thursdays, designer everything.
What are you talking about?
Our plan. What happened to winning the lottery and mastering the art of the perfect mimosa? Hosting galas, wearing enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacationing in the French Riviera, and then buying it.
I just thought maybe it was time to prepare for my future. You know, set some financial goals, make some smart investments, open a 401k.
Financial goals? Investments? A 401k? You are horrifying right now. Listen, if winning the lottery were easy, everyone would do it.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Northern Tool and Equipment.
So me and the boys head out to tailgate today and find some other fans in our spot.
Well, it happens.
Cheering for the wrong team.
Oh, this is war.
Even worse, they've got this couch set up and everything.
A couch?
Yeah, it's sectional.
All right, first thing, don't ever use the word sectional again.
Done.
Second, I want you to grab a 4,700-pound tow chain with J-hook and grab hammer. Throw that on the back of your truck.
Got it.
Now you're going to Hail Mary the J-hook over the end of that couch. Time to find a better spot for your new friends.
That should do it.
There's no problem a little horsepower can't solve. Northern Tool and Equipment.
Taking a family of 5 to the amusement park can cost a small fortune.
Oh, yeah. So to save some money, we thought, hey, let's bring the amusement park to us.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Step right up, young man. Are you ready to ride the wacky waterfall?
That's just the bathtub with the shower head running.
Nope, it's the wacky waterfall.
It's the shower, Dad.
Waterfall.
Wacky.
There's an easier way to save. To get a free rate quote, go to geico.com. Then buy online, over the phone, or at your local Geico office.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to After Hours AM, the Criminal Code. I'm your host, Joel Sturgis, right along with me,
Eric Olsen and
Dr. Clarissa Cole.
We are knee-deep in talking about the UK's one of the strangest serial killers, John Christie. For a lot of reasons, he was strange, but he's also a late bloomer. Don't hold that against him. You know, we all start late sometimes at things. As we left, he killed his neighbor's wife and child, and firmly pointed the finger at the husband of said wife and child. And the man was put to death while Christie was able to get away scot-free. He also has a real love of gardening. Not that kind of gardening, like burying bodies in gardens, that kind of thing. Nothing like making your tomatoes grow like dead people. So, okay, now we're all caught up. Where do we go now?
Oh, God. So,
fertilizer.
Yes.
That's right.
The garden could have been amazing.
It
Soy
could
the
have been.
greatest people.
It
Soy the
is.
greatest people.
It reminds me of that movie with Johnny Depp's Secret Window. In time, I'll even forget where they went. Because he put them in the garden.
I remember that one.
Yep.
So on the morning of December 14th in 1952, John Christie eventually strangled his wife to death in their bed. He killed Ethel. I did not find any information why. Yeah, I think he was probably just tired of her.
Yeah.
He sold her belongings, anything that was worth money he sold, and he gave anyone who asked really varying stories regarding where she was, which I thought was funny. Like, he didn't have like one story.
Visiting family for a very long time.
No, I mean, he told all these people different things. Like, he wrote letters supposedly for her because she was sick and she, didn't feel well enough to write. I mean, all this crazy stuff. So she's gone. She's gone. And apparently people are just like, oh, okay. And they don't really ask a whole lot about it.
Maybe people hated Ethel.
Maybe. Yeah, I have no idea.
Maybe they're like, hey, thank God she's gone. I owe her money. I'm glad she's gone.
Right? Oh, she's not coming for Christmas? Who cares? So between January and March of 1953, so that's this next year, Christie invited at least 3 more prostitutes to 10 Rillington Place. He gassed them, raped them, and strangled them to death. So he really became a fan of using the household gas to,
what is up with that? Because H.H. Holmes,
what a champ that guy was.
Did he know H.H. Holmes or something? Because that's a playbook from Holmes right there. I mean, he was a big fan of gas.
I was going to say Holmes predated him, but what's kind of interesting about that is, like, yes, Holmes used gas, but he used it until they succumbed to the gas. They like died from it. And what Holmes liked to do was to listen in on their final words and moments. Like, that was what Holmes got off on, was listening to them die. Christie used it just to subdue them. And he didn't want to kill them with it.
Gotcha. Just to knock them out so he could have his way with them.
Just to knock them out. So it's like, kind of a different playbook, even though it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Christie didn't kill them with it. So he gassed them just to sort of get their compliance. Then he raped them, and then he strangled them to death. And because of this detail, though, I feel like we should jump into the future a little bit. He got this weird reputation in England as being a necrophiliac.
Oh, so he liked to get freaky with the dead.
No, he didn't.
Oh, he didn't?
At all.
He didn't like to get freaky with the dead.
No,
okay, so
he did not.
So the rumor floating around the UK or England going, hey, that guy likes to get freaky with the dead.
A rumor that has lasted well over 100 years. Yes, it is not true. There's no truth to it. He specifically referenced his distaste after they died. So no.
Gotcha. So yeah. So he was not.
He just wanted them knocked out and unable to fight back.
Yeah,
exactly right. And then when he strangled them, and as soon as they died, he wanted nothing more to do with them, and he wrapped them up in a blanket or carpet or a rug because he didn't want to touch their dead bodies. So he was exactly the opposite.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He wasn't like our friend over in Key West that lived with it for 7 years. Gotcha. Okay.
No, he was not. But he gained this reputation. So he starts off with a reputation of Christie can't perform, and all of a sudden he's a necrophile later.
That is odd. That's people embellishing the story, is what that is right there.
Exactly. So basically he rapes and kills these prostitutes, but I guess he was running out of room. So
out of real estate to put dead bodies.
Yeah, I mean, it was a kind of small place, right? So he looking at the pictures, kind of small. So he didn't bury them in the garden, or I don't know, maybe he just felt like, I don't want to dig up the ground. It was too cold that time of year. I'm not sure. Well, it would have been cold. So he instead sort of built on kind of an alcove type place to the kitchen.
Just for body storage?
Just for storage.
Wow, this weekend DIY.
You know what I mean? You too can build an alcove coffin. So I know, and then I'm reminded of that funeral home where they built an alcove in the ceiling for the babies.
That's
like
right.
Apparently, they took a page
thing.
out of Christie's book. Same thing. So it was
evidently they were looking back at the history of great serial killers, and this guy built a whole room for it. That's a great idea.
He did it. Yeah, he built a little alcove. So that's what he did. He put all 3 of the prostitutes' bodies in this little alcove that he built and kind of wallpapered over. And he moved out of that apartment, but he didn't tell his landlord because the rent was continuing to be paid through other kind of subletters, which, by the way, was not allowed. Subletting, but that's what he was doing.
So this guy, though, Doctor, I don't mean to cut you off, but how ballsy is that? To put him behind the wall. Hey, I'm just going to put him behind the wallpaper. No one will ever notice the bodies. And decides, hey, I'm out of here now. And never thinking that anyone's going to, I don't know, want to rip down the wallpaper and expose these bodies.
I don't know if it's ballsy or just dumb.
Well, it's
like
a little bit both.
It's
absent-minded.
kind of just dumb. Like, why wouldn't you stay there at the very least, man? Like, watch over it. Like, what, you think the landlord's not going to notice? Hey, I thought this kitchen was bigger. Like, what?
Right.
It's perhaps just a really extreme case of hubris where I've been getting away with this. No one cares. I got my neighbor convicted and hanged for a crime, 2 crimes I committed. I can get away with anything.
I'm Teflon. They're never going to get me. I'm just too slick for this anyway. Yeah, maybe he got a big head. Maybe he thought, you're right, Eric, maybe he thought he was truly untouchable at that point.
And I mean, he really kind of was. All this evidence is pointing to him, including the guy that they killed, is saying, no, he did it. They find bodies, they find all this evidence, and still don't track it down to him. He kills his wife. Nobody asks about her. Like, why not? Right. So he basically gets found out when an upstairs neighbor, so the upstairs neighbor at 10 Rillington Place, something broke in their kitchen. I can't remember what it was, but it basically something didn't work. And the landlord said, yeah, I kicked those subletters out. They shouldn't have been there anyway. Why don't you go downstairs and use the downstairs kitchen? Because works. Yeah.
Oh,
so
no.
Yeah, exactly. Goes to the downstairs kitchen and tries to kind of install something like brackets on the wall for something because the electric or whatever works down there. Starts to screw into the wall and then realizes it's not really even a wall at all. It's just
hanging wallpaper.
Kind of. It's wallpaper over a very thin sort of like board concealing this alcove. So you certainly can't attach anything to it. So he realizes this, finally figures it out, pulls this board back, and there's 3 bodies wrapped in blankets in there.
Yeah, that doesn't stick out at all.
Wouldn't they have smelled?
Yeah, you would
be
have thought
blunt?
so. Yeah.
You'd think. One would think. I have no explanation for that.
I mean, look at the John Gacy case. I mean, he got busted because of smell.
Right. Well, Jeffrey Dahmer too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not why he was busted, but a big part of it.
It was a contributing factor of why he was caught. And yeah, you're right. Why wouldn't they smell? They can't be petrified already. So.
No, although this is kind of a we were talking about sort of almost ghetto-like portion.
Sure, lots of weird smells in the ghetto.
And lots of weird smells in the city, too, in mid-century where, cars and they were also right near a train depot that they said it was so loud and during the day that, like, the building would shake from the train. And so they're probably used to odd smells.
Coming from the hobos at the train station.
So they didn't smell it, but they discovered the bodies and they tracked Christie down very soon after that. They arrested him and they tried him for murder, principally the murder of his wife, Ethel, actually.
So they tracked the guy down. Where was he when they caught him?
He was just at another apartment. He was renting a different place. Yeah.
He didn't skip town or anything?
No. He wasn't hard to find at all.
Wow.
I imagine he was shocked. Well,
yeah, you can't get me.
I thought I was invincible.
Yeah,
what are you doing here? And when they asked him about it, at first he denied it, but then they said, hey, wait a minute, we executed Timothy Evans a few years ago for the murder of his wife and child. Did you have anything to do with that? And he's like, oh, yeah.
I'm the one that did it. You killed the wrong man.
I did that. Although I should clarify this. I didn't really state this outright in my write-up about it. He never did admit to the killing of Geraldine, the daughter. But given that he did admit to assaulting and killing Beryl, and she was wrapped in the same blanket as the baby, yeah, he did it. I mean...
Yeah, that guy was guilty as sin, and they caught up with him. And how
scum, double scum, triple scum, scum.
Exactly. I wonder how the authorities felt about killing an innocent man, after all.
I don't know. The executioner didn't seem to feel too bad about it.
No, that's his job.
It was the same executioner for Christie and for Evans, and I guess Christie got up to the top of the gallows, and he complained that his nose itched, to which the executioner replied, "It won't bother you for long."
Oh,
that's a true statement. He's just going to be hanging around soon anyway.
Yep, and that was it. He was executed on July 15th, 1953.
Man, damn, that was that actually in the grand scheme of things, that was not that long ago.
It really wasn't you look at the pictures, it seems like it's ancient history, but it really isn't.
No, it's less than a century ago that this went down, and he killed a whole lot of people for really what reason? I mean, what's your best guess, Doctor?
What is your analysis, Dr. Cole?
Exactly. Yes, Dr. Cole, please tell us.
Analyze this.
I mean, it's to me, he's kind of run of the mill. I mean, he started later than most, but there were some interruptions that we have to remember where we don't know exactly what was happening. There was the First World War and the Second World War. And when countries are at war, there's lots of atrocities that go on, even in civilian life, especially in England at that time, that a lot of people kind of look the other way.
Yeah.
And his life is not documented very well during those periods. So is it possible, and in my mind, do I think that he was at least assaulting, if not raping women during that time? Probably. Like he's not caught for anything, but I find it very hard to believe that he truly didn't start any of this behavior until 44. So my guess is that he's just the run-of-the-mill serial killer that has a sexual component, chooses high-risk victims, prostitutes, and does his thing. There's not a whole lot that is special about him other than that he was intelligent and didn't come from a terribly disjointed family life, and he was able to get another man executed for his crimes. That speaks to a higher intelligence, certainly, at least a higher social intelligence.
So why do you, there just is nothing there to point to serial killer, though. Didn't have a horrible childhood, lived well. Right. Seemed to do all right in life. Normally it's the quote unquote losers that become serial killers, ones that feel inadequate. Obviously he felt inadequate in the love department, but overall he seemed to be a normal guy up until the point where it would seem to thrill kill. Killing a prostitute on a whim kind of set that all in motion.
Agreed. And I think that, we've talked about this before. I think that psychopaths are born, not made. So I think, in the annals of serial killers, they are born, and typically their lives sort of turn out what they become. In his case, it is confusing in some ways because he was born a psychopath, so he didn't have a choice in that regard. But other than the sexual issues, there wasn't a whole lot of overt suffering going on in his life. But everybody handles things differently. That could have been enough.
Do you think it was the watching the horrors of war, World War I, that would have tripped that open, awakened the psychopath inside?
Yeah,
No,
not at all. I think that people ask me those types of questions, so I'm glad that you did. They asked me about sexual predators, for instance. Like, oh, were they abused sexually as kids, or did watching the horrors of war harden that person? And I'm like, what, are you kidding me? That the world would be full of people like that. Think of how many people saw the horrors of war during that time period, and how many more of them were heroes, were altruistic, who gave up their lives to help other people that they didn't even know. Like war does the opposite as well. I think John Christie was what he was.
And you got to remember, in World War I, we're talking trench warfare. We're talking just
bad.
Nasty.
And mustard gas still being...
Oh, God, yeah. Before it was banned by the Geneva Convention, it was used quite frequently.
Bad stuff.
Horrible stuff. Basically, mustard gas, for anyone that wants to know, it burns your lungs, makes you drown in your own, basically, fluids.
It's absolutely terrible. But you think of all the people that he served with, many of them went on to become heroes.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing special about John Christie other than that he turned to the dark side because he wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Did anyone ever uncover the body? Well, obviously they uncovered the bodies in the garden because we're talking about them.
Yeah, they did. And they uncovered it. I didn't include this either, but like at one point he had his garden gate propped open with a femur.
See, the guy just wanted to get
hubris.
Caught. Yeah, he just wanted to get caught. Really, he did. Who does that unless you want to be caught?
Like, I can't figure out a way to prop this gate open. You know what I have handy? A femur.
Is it true, though? Yeah, is it true, Dr. Cole, that all serial killers deep down inside want to get caught?
No. Watch the story of Ted Bundy and you'll know that's not true. Good Lord, man. That guy escaped from custody more than Houdini. It's unreal. No.
Hey, you've heard that spiel, haven't you? Where deep down inside, all serial killers truly want to get caught.
I'd be like, what is your name, Pollyanna? No, they don't. That is only spoken for people that have never come face to face with true evil. Those are the same people that, I hate to say it, but are not atheists and believe that all people are born good and everybody wants to do good for society. And honestly, I laugh. I laugh at this.
Yeah,
good Lord. Visit a prison. Volunteer there for a month. Come back. tell me how you feel.
Puppy dogs and unicorns in their world kind of thing. Yeah, no, I hear you.
And rainbows and lollipops, people.
Yeah,
They don't all want to get caught because they're secretly good inside. And stop writing love letters to Scott Peterson, for God's sake. No, they're not all good underneath.
I did hear that
Like
they're quite popular on the inside of the ladies.
Oh my God, no!
killers.
Like when somebody is like telling you through every action that they take that they are a horrible, horrible excuse for a human being. Listen. Don't make up this idea that they're not.
I was just pondering the evolution of this particular killer, and I'm wondering if it could be as simple as, and this would be more a matter of if he really didn't start till later in life, which sounds like it's pretty fuzzy and gray, because he may have started earlier, just wasn't known, wasn't found out. But I'm just wondering, could this really have been an almost purely sexual thing, where his need, especially because he'd been teased about it and ridiculed about it as a young man, his need to perform well sexually, if only for himself, became harder and harder to achieve through these oppressive and eventually murderous means. Could something like that, in other words, it took more and more and more to get him off, is bluntly what I'm saying, and eventually arriving at actual murder. And then, once that floodgate was opened, then it was like, oh yeah, this is the the ultimate in preparation for such things. And maybe it really was a matter of the psychology of his sex life that led to this. It may not even really had a whole lot to do with killing per se. It's just he found out that happened to float his boat. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and actually that's a very good hypothesis. I wonder, like, I've always wondered about that first victim. Like, I wonder what would have happened, I guess, because he invites this prostitute back, right? His wife is off visiting. What if, because he is getting older at that point, and as you get older, physical things do start to happen to everybody. And like, what if he invited this 21, she was only 21-year-old prostitute over? Yeah, like he invites her over, and what if like maybe just hypothetically speaking, he couldn't perform for her, even though he'd been able to with prostitutes before? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, what if you're exactly right, Eric, that it was this, maybe more and more was needed to get him to that place. And worse yet, what if he was ridiculed by one of the people that he invited into his home? I absolutely think that could have started something. And clearly the gassing of the victims, the making them unconscious, right, was part of it. And that to me does speak to this
and power.
Desperate. Not only power, but this desperate insecurity. Like, if you can only have sex with them when they are unconscious because you are so scared of any judgment.
Maybe he doesn't like the small talk afterwards.
Clearly.
But I mean, I was just thinking, well, that's interesting, and I thank you for validating that thought. But I mean, just an analogy, vastly less criminal and destructive analogies. I was just talking to some guy who's a fair amount older than I am, and I don't even know how the conversation got around to it. He seemed way too eager to talk about it. He was discussing how his Viagra usage had just, little by little, gradually gone up. And I mean, in other words, the dosage had gone up over the years because he required more and more and more, And so that's kind of what got me thinking about that if this guy, became, well, just all the things you said, if he was so traumatized by things that happened to him earlier in his life, and his life came to revolve around the need to be successful in that regard, then he would literally be he would be willing to do anything that caused him or enabled him to be successful. And then maybe he found out when he did start killing that, oh my God, that was his ultimate aphrodisiac,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's sad, I think, with some of these earlier killers, what we could have potentially learned. Like back then, like Joel, like you were saying, that it was more polite society. We didn't talk about these things. But the other thing is that forensic psychology as a science did not exist back then.
Yeah.
And at least not in its current form, nowhere near it. And so there weren't a whole lot of people asking these questions of them. And it would have been interesting to sit in a room with him and have him become comfortable with me enough that he could talk about what was driving this, because we don't know. And that does kind of suck, because I want to know, like, why did he start so late? But Eric, I think that your idea is the closest that I've heard to being something that I would go, oh yeah, that would make sense. That he was just driven to that point after so much time that I can't perform at all anymore. I need to make this happen. It's a desperate situation for me, and the ends justify the means.
But isn't deviancy a little bit progressive as well? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Or I shouldn't say deviancy, but that thrill needs to be ramped up over time. You start off with something fairly, low on the spectrum, and the next thing you know, you're full blown, whatever it is, whatever floats your boat. But it always has to keep getting more and more extreme to achieve the same results, right?
Yeah, it does. There is a progression, though, and it's something that we don't talk about a lot on the show, because everybody that we talk about gets caught, like at some like midlife time. It does go in that trajectory, yes. So it ramps up to a point where it's like, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas time, where it's just, things are insane.
Yeah.
And it just ramps up to that point. But then eventually, as an offender ages, if they don't get caught, it does start to wane, typically.
So
to where
they
even they are going, oh, really? I'm kind of too tired for that. I don't want to do that anymore. So offenders do eventually age out if they are not caught, which is what I think happened to people like the Zodiac Killer and, people that did not get caught. They aged out.
Sure. That makes sense. That would make more sense than anything else I've heard, like with the Zodiac, because he just aged out of it.
He got tired, man. He got tired. He got tired of doing ciphers, got tired of taunting the police, and didn't want to kill anymore. It wasn't doing anything for him. And that's what happens to the people that get caught much later in life, that especially the ones that I have talked to. They started putting the brakes on their own criminal career even before they were caught. Yeah, because they were tired.
Makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And the aging out makes a lot of sense.
Like they're surrounded by young criminals now in prison, and they're sick of them. They literally say things sometimes like, "Oh, these youngsters and their music." Seriously,
them and their music. Back when I was killing people, really? It was a different ball game.
It's nothing. Nothing brings home the cycle of life like sitting across from a serial killer and hearing him utter the words, "These youngsters and their music."
Yeah, them and their rap game. Their
I used to kill the polkas.
Sure. Yeah. Back when I was murdering.
Time is what you need for a good kill.
It was the golden oldies. Yeah. No.
I swear that
my lawn or I'll kill you.
Yeah, right. Even them, they're saying them damn kids and their rap music. And you must laugh a little bit when you hear that, though. Come on.
Oh no, I don't. No, I absolutely I don't laugh to myself. I laugh out loud, and I'm like, really?
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
You're angry because they're madder than you were. I mean, what? They're showing you up? Come on, chill out.
Mostly, yeah, exactly. It's like mostly it's that. A lot of times the young kids kind of remind them of who they used to be, and it's upsetting on levels. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I would imagine that there's some, at least some little bit of one-upsmanship amongst the serial killer community.
Oh, definitely. The criminal community in general. And they don't understand the younger subset. There is an idea.
Don't get it.
It's a very thin thread, but there is a thread of an idea that there was a certain sort of principle to what old timers did. The young timers. Yeah, I know.
That
it's
is comical. That is really, really funny. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to this edition of After Hours AM, the Criminal Code, and thanks a ton for supporting the show. I was looking at my notes. We've been at this for about a year and a half, almost exactly. This show has been on the air. It has grown exponentially since then. So thank you so much for allowing us to come to you, bring you this programming. Of course, we are available anywhere you can get podcasts, anywhere you're downloading, you can find this show, and as well as live on places such as iHeartRadio and everywhere else. And we have also added the Facebook Live element recently. So again, take care of each other, love each other. Until next time, hey, check out some of these serial killers. It is really fascinating at times. After Hours AM is a production of Midwest Radio Productions. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And please visit www.americas-most-haunted.com.